Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Brear, and welcome to episode 116 of the 11FS FinTech Insider Breakfast Show. In this show, we bring you the best and the brightest from around the fintech and banking landscape every single weekday, straight into your homes at 8:30 BST, here, live, and on LinkedIn. Today, we're joined by some super awesome guests who are going to share a very special announcement this morning, which is good. I mean, it makes it sound like you guys are about to get married, which is like, I was slightly... I need to tone it down a little bit so set people's expectations. But joining me today, we have Eilin Schjetne, who is the European Partnership Lead at Visa, and we have Rune Garborg, who is the CEO at Vipps. Guys, how are you doing this morning?
Doing very, very well. It's great to be on the show. And it's actually a bit of a funny situation. I'm not used to having anyone next to me, given that we've all been on home office recently. But it's nice. We're remaining the 1 meter social distancing between us.
That's the most important. And overall, this is a big day for Vipps. And we're so excited to be on your show today. So thank you very much for inviting us.
No problem at all. And thank you very much for making the effort of getting together. I mean, you can't start a partnership without actually being together, I guess, can you? So for everybody who's watching this over on LinkedIn, as always, we love getting your questions. So please leave those in the comments sidebar. We'll just weave them into the conversation as we go. I mean, let's get straight into it, guys. What are you announcing today?
We are announcing a strategic partnership between Visa and Vipps to accelerate mobile payments across Europe.
Fantastic. That's a pretty big thing to kick off there. I mean, talk to us a little bit about what that means for, I guess, Visa's perspective as well, because we'll come to Vipps, Rune, don't worry, in a second. But tell us a little bit about that, because I mean, Visa, you guys are pretty picky about who you partner with.
Absolutely. We only partner with the best in class, and with this partnership, we will be able to offer our clients and partners in Europe the Vipps wallet platform, from which they can tailor and offer a wallet to their customers, so that their customers can pay and be paid and manage their money using this wallet with such a great user experience. And as you said, David, yes, we only partner with the best, and we have naturally done a thorough due diligence. And Vipps has great market penetration in Norway, actually 85%. And they are one of the wallets in Europe with highest usage. And they have a wide range of capabilities and use cases. But also, as importantly, is the cultural fit and match between the companies whenever we select a partner. So the attitude, the management, the spirit, the energy, and obviously with a wallet, the go-to-market know-how. And given that this is early morning for most of you, I would love to just give you a quick fun fact, because Vipps has actually scored as the #1 brand in Norway amongst the young, scoring even higher than Snapchat, which we find very, very fascinating, given that it is a financial application after all.
That's amazing. I mean, Rune, she said so many nice things. Like in a partnership, it's not one way; it's got to be two-way, right? So I mean, tell us a little bit about what this means for Vipps, and actually maybe for our non-European listeners who are tuning into this. I mean, because that's a big statement, right? Being more popular with the younger demographics than Snapchat is like a huge thing. But this is because you're fixing like a real problem for people, isn't it?
Yes, people are really appreciating simplicity, and that is the most important thing here. So Vipps actually started as a P2P service, just replacing account number with mobile number. And that was the very start of the fast uptake in the market and building this strong brand as well. It is the fastest growing brand in Norway of all times. Today, we're offering e-com in-store payment. You can pay your invoices as well in Vipps. So it has a broad service today. And 3.8 million people in Norway are using Vipps, and most of them are using Vipps on a weekly basis.
Wow.
So this has been a very it's been a joyful experience for us. And the question now was, how could we actually export this product abroad? And then we had to actually make a decision who is the preferred partner. And it was no doubt about that. We wanted to partner up with the number one payment company in the world, the largest payment company in the world, the fifth most valuable brand in the world. So for Vipps, this is a great opportunity. And we have to remember, in the Norwegian market, the whole base, the most important thing for the success in Norway has been the bank collaboration. So the key here is the collaboration between the banks, because we need the banks to collaborate to compete against the big international players. And that is why I think this collaboration is so important, because we need actually to transfer that model into Europe, seeing the banks actually collaborating and creating the best customer experience.
I mean, and that's the really interesting thing, isn't it? Because I mean, obviously, these types of models, and I'm sure, Rune, you've looked at it. I mean, I sat on the original Payments Council when the banks were getting together in the UK. I mean, this was back in 2010, maybe 2009, looking at this type of solution, and it was like a scene out of Reservoir Dogs. You know, like everybody's pointing a gun at everybody else, and like nobody wants to be the first one to like pull the trigger, right? So the collaboration, and we had Kirsten from DNB on 2 months ago, I think, on the show. The collaboration in the Norwegian market is unlike any other market, I think, but to your point a second ago, it's not just about the features and the functionality, and that's driving, I think, your success. It's the brand and the problems and the experience, I think, that you're creating, because that, for me, seems to be the major difference there. Is, again, you've created a brand that really solves problems for people, that really engages with them on a daily basis, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's all about the simplicity, because you need to excite the users, and they need to see that you're simplifying their everyday life. Yeah. And I think that has been the strong recipe so far. And if it's not simple enough, we're not going to do it. And we need to be ahead of the competition in this area. But it needs a strong distribution power as well. So if you can combine the highest degree of simplicity with the strong cooperation between the banks, it's a very, very strong combination, and that has functioned well in Norway, far beyond what we expected. And we believe with Visa that we can create the same results also outside Norway.
Yeah, and I can echo that. We always look to the Nordics to really understand what will happen within payments in a year or two or three. And I'm Nordic myself, and we'd like to think of ourselves as tech savvy and early adopters of new technology. But we truly believe that the main reason for the Nordics being such advanced within payments is the collaboration between the banks, between the regulatory bodies, and all the stakeholders in the ecosystem. So collaboration is absolutely key to ensure seamless payment flows and payment transactions going forward.
Fantastic. I mean, maybe, I mean, the love is clearly in the air, right? Like, partnerships here, it's working from both sides. There's a cultural fit. I'm starting to feel slightly like this is a dating program this morning rather than, but that's fun too. The cultural fit here, as you said, I mean, that makes such a big difference, doesn't it? In terms of actually, you know, because partnerships are hard, right? This is, you know, you will go through periods where you've got to have tough conversations. You've got to make sure you guys are aligned from a vision perspective, from a values perspective, from what you do on a day-to-day basis. So, I mean, maybe if we start with you, Eilin, like, what does this partnership really sort of mean for Visa?
So Visa is passionate about accelerating digital payments. And we always look to offer the best possible solutions in the marketplace to our clients and partners. And this will allow us to give access to our partners and clients across Europe to the best wallet capabilities, in the market space, and also with all the resources and skills they have, as mentioned, on the go-to-market know-how, the branding, and how to secure great adoption and all of that. So we are super excited about this, as it will give many other countries the same opportunity to have access to this wallet at a speedy time to market, and also at a lower investment, as opposed to building their own wallet and trying and testing and on all of that, which has been done over a 5-year period in Norway with Vipps.
Fantastic. And obviously, Rune, I mean, you touched a little bit on the international aspirations. What does this partnership mean for you guys at Vipps?
We really believe that the banks need the collaboration actually to compete against the big international players. If you look at the payment industry now, it's become a highly global contest with the best brands with the highest resources, the most customer-centric brands in the world. And for every single bank to compete against that with their own wallet, instead of staying together, invest more in the best and simplest solutions for the customer, I don't think that is sustainable. So the banks really need to collaborate. Your biggest problem is not your neighbor in the banking industry. It's the whole new competition that we see, which creates new services in a totally new space. And we need to develop products and services faster. We need to invest more. We need to make this available everywhere in Europe. The payment needs to be available everywhere. And we need an onboarding as well that is simpler than anybody else can provide. So these elements can be delivered in the collaboration with Visa and the banks. And that is what we're trying and are going to do now the next few months.
Fantastic. I mean, are there any particular geographies that you're kind of eyeing up first? I mean, there's obviously a lot of different geos that are adopting cashless in a much more aggressive sense. I mean, and obviously in this period with everything that's happening with COVID, then people have really been pushed towards digital payments capability in a much more significant way. But is there any particular geos you're really sort of, do you know what, the UK really needs this, or like, Spain really needs this right now, or where are you thinking about next?
So, David, it's interesting that you mentioned COVID-19 in this respect, because we definitely see that one of the effects of COVID-19 is an increasing demand for digital payments across Europe and across the globe. So COVID-19 has demanded contactless payments, so displacing cash increasingly, and also to enable customers to be able to shop online when there is a lockdown, to shop for groceries, etc. So it's definitely accelerated the demand for digital payments, and we do see this across the entire region. And we actually see now that 75% of the Visa payments in Europe are now contactless, wow, which is a great increase. And this is across Europe. So there aren't any one or two or countries or any specific regions within Europe. This is absolutely great and relevant for all countries in Europe. And as mentioned, we see this so clearly now in a post-COVID-19 setting.
Fantastic. Not just one country or two countries, but the whole region. I like. There's nothing quite like having a nice big aspiration to kind of go after them. But
I would just like to add there that we have a lot of countries which are highly digitalized, but they still are using cash in a high degree, and we think that is an interesting combination. Replacing cash with simple digital payment. So we see a large potential there.
Yeah, I mean, it has the potential, as you say, to sort of leapfrog that evolution, doesn't it, through those areas, which is fantastic. I mean, obviously, these types of partnerships are not something that just sort of comes out of the blue. You guys, I mean, clearly in a COVID world, you didn't just bump into each other in the street and go, we should do some stuff together. Like, what's the process here for kind of creating this type of partnership? I mean, and obviously during a pandemic, there's another kind of angle of actually sort of getting to that final line. So, I mean, how long has this been in the works?
It's actually been for quite a while now, because as mentioned, we do our thorough due diligence, of course, and we want to work together as well to see the cultural fit and all of that. And I think also all of us and the listeners to this morning show can relate to how it is to collaborate using digital communications channels. And it's always good to be able to rely on some previous in-person collaboration, because then you can continue on the good and creative processes using the different Skype meetings and Teams and all of that. But I must admit, though, that I haven't seen you in person for a while, and it's absolutely great to be back in the office, at least for a few hours.
I think I have to say that I think it wouldn't have started as well if the process started with COVID-19. So we met each other several times, and as you mentioned, the chemistry is very important. So we spoke a lot about our common aspirations, and the strategy has been developed over time. So it took some time to draw the map, but now we have a common picture of what we're going to achieve.
Fantastic. Some interesting conversation or interesting questions over on LinkedIn. So one from Simon Schofield, who said, so my question is, what consolidation do you think will occur in the digital payment space, given the ever increasing number of players? Because, I mean, Rune, obviously there's a lot, I think in the Nordic market, actually not so much, but globally, as you say, the threat isn't really just coming for the big incumbent banks. The threat isn't really just coming from another bank doing a thing. It's Stripe, or it's, a gigantic technology player kind of straying into financial services. Do you think there will be a sort of a consolidation in this space before it really explodes again?
So we may see consolidations, we may see collaboration, we may see partnership. And we have in Visa a network of networks approach, where we will enable any party to connect to our network in order to enable scale, enable reach, etc. So there may be many outcomes of all the developments we see within payments, and one in which may, of course, be consolidation as well. And we see that in all developing areas within tech and fintech, certainly. But collaboration works really, really well as well, and partnerships. So it's all exciting to keep following what's happening within payments, as there are a lot of exciting initiatives popping up and players entering into new fields, etc.
I think it's the customer, they demand services that are available everywhere. They demand a higher degree of simplicity. So to be able to deliver this, you need to consolidate, you need a cooperation between the brands. And I think that's going to accelerate in a fast pace the coming months and years. We will also see that the ID solutions are going to be integrated with the payment solutions. It's all about making it simple and safe. And I think the most customer-centric players are going to deliver great on both areas.
I mean, I was sort of saying this to you guys earlier on. I mean, the Nordic, I mean, particularly Norway, you guys have got a particularly digital system, haven't you? I don't mean just, one system or another system, but actually your central government systems are actually very digital in terms of the ways you can integrate into things. I mean, that feels like a real recipe for other governments to be following in other countries, right? We've seen in this period, I think it was the US dragging COBOL engineers out of retirement to try and fix their checking system to distribute funds. So unless you really get that central, truly digital capability, this is what happens when you get there. Is all of these things can really flourish, can't they?
And this is a good task for all of us in the payments ecosystem nowadays, because the customers really demand digital payments that are secure, easy to use, and enable them to use any kind of form factor, whether it's a mobile phone, a watch, or a ring, or any connected device. So it's really up to us in this environment to work together, to collaborate, and to be able to offer the solutions that the customers demand. So it's a good, interesting task ahead of us to continue on that path.
Fantastic.
I think for the banks creating that infrastructure and not competing on that, instead of building something with low cost that gives you a strong platform to deliver the best products and services, that is the recipe. And I think that can be followed. And when I look at Visa now and Visa Direct and the ability to create that interoperability in the digital space as well, you can actually offer services in the market that are available in any country and across countries in a very short while.
Fantastic. I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I remember speaking to Kirsten about this when she came on. But I mean, the points you're making around collaboration of big incumbent organizations, I mean, fundamentally that has to start with the sort of admission that you don't do everything best. And I remember saying to her, it's like, actually, the level of sort of emotional intelligence that requires for organizations is very, very significant. So, I mean, do you think that is the foundation of a great partnership? It's actually, you know, you both recognize the benefit of each other and what each other of you do better than each other. But together you can be so much more strong, can't you?
Yeah, and from our point of view, you need the collaboration, and you need that in a lot of different areas. If you look at the e-commerce industry for the moment, it's exploding, and we're going to see new type of consolidation, cooperation. So you really need that collaboration to stay ahead. So from our point of view, that is a necessity, and we are going to continue in that path. And if you look at the banks, we have to be realistic. For the banks alone to compete against Apple, Google, PayPal, Klarna, and the other strong brands in payment, that is really a tough task. They need to collaborate to make something that it's unique in terms of customer experience and also with low cost.
And yes, and we in Visa, we are clearly an enabler for fintechs to connect to our global network. And that's something we are very, very passionate about, working with fintechs to enable them scale and to bring out the best of all of us, both the fintechs and other parties in the ecosystem by collaboration. It's absolutely key going forward.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on the partnership. Congratulations on, I mean, individually, Visa, Vipps, congratulations on the success of you guys. But together, I'm super expecting really interesting things. It's going to be coming to the top of the hour pretty soon, so we better get everybody to get on with their days. But Eilin, Rune, where can people find out a little bit more about you and the partnerships?
So please do connect with us on LinkedIn. And obviously, visa.com, as always.
Looking forward to hear from you.
Fantastic. And Rune, where can people learn a little bit more about you and learn a little bit more about Vipps?
You can visit our websites, and you can visit LinkedIn as well and search for Vipps there, and also on Facebook if you want to look further into Vipps and see what we're doing.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. That's all we have time for today, I'm afraid. Tomorrow, I won't be here, sadly, but Mr. Simon Taylor will be joined by Ned Phillips, who is the CEO and founder of Bamboo. Going to be a great show, but I hope you have a great day. Speak to you soon. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.